So I'm going to be starting this side now. I've just been kind of jumping around and putting different things in, and just not really paying too much attention to things. So I painted this on the first day, and then this one was yesterday afternoon, a globe, and then I did both of those last night. So yeah, I'm going to jump over to the other side now and see what's going on. So I think I'm probably going to start with a skull here. So we have a skull to paint, and then this is like a giant piece of meat. There's a big bone here. There's a glass here. These are cheese. And then this is a turkey, a large turkey, and this is a pie. So it's a table, obviously, and there's just all kinds of like just meat and just all different kinds of food. There's these skulls and books and other things too. So it's just a picture of opulence, I guess. So let's go in and try this skull. Let's see how this goes. I'm just gonna mark the highlights of the skull. I'm not gonna go right to white, but yeah, I'm just going with titanium white, which is an opaque white, very high tinting strength. Titanium white, yellow ochre deep, and black. So yeah, let's get this started over here. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy 29th of October. Hasn't it gone quickly? Here we go. Yeah, just a little bit up here. I'm going to start with some highlights. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to readjust, just so my arm isn't sticking in the air quite so much. I'm just going to make some sort of indications here where I think the lightest parts of this skull will be. I don't need to get it completely right at this stage. Not a problem whatsoever. Kind of making some indications there, you would say. Okay, now I'm going to jump all the way to the other side to the black. And just mark out the darkest areas here in this skull. Obviously the eyes, and then let's see what else we have after this. I may jump over and work on this glass over here. I'm kind of excited about this turkey down here. I've never painted a turkey before, so maybe we'll do that. So all these things on the table, and they're just kind of crowded in here. Everything's a little bit chaotic and a little bit messy, and you know, this is supposed to be a sort of picture of opulence. All of these different items. So we shall see. That's just straight black right there. I'm going to go with the same thing here, just on the inside of the nose. It is important to stay abreast of your skull anatomy if you're going to be painting any number of skulls. because you know, it's a really good thing to learn. It doesn't change too much. It changes with age. So, you know, a child's skull is quite different than an adult skull. But other than that, yeah, you just kind of, it's one of those things you learn once, what the major bones are. You know, this is the zygomatic arch right here. And it folds up, and there's just this tiny little suture. And then you get into this area here, which is called the supraorbital torus, and it's kind of a bump. So once you learn these structures, you can kind of keep them in your mind. So, you know, right now I'm just kind of referencing this internal skull I have in my mind. And yeah, it just comes with practice, I guess. So I'm gonna go with not a ton of teeth. Go with some kind of tooth holes, if you will. I don't know. Maybe put some teeth back in there. This is just black and yellow ochre deep. I'm just catching the kind of darkest areas. I want it quite dark because this zygomatic arch will come forward if I make the parts underneath it darker. That's the idea there. Even darker than that yet. So sometimes I start light and sometimes I start dark. This time I dropped in the lightest section and the darkest section, and then I'm going to kind of meet in the middle. And that's a reasonable technique to do. Is then you know not to go too dark or too light. Is this a different one than yesterday? No, this is the same one. So this is just the other side. So this is the center. So we did this on day 1. And then day 2, we did this one in the afternoon, the globe. And then last night we did those 2. The skull on the pot. So this is, no, it's just a large painting. So I'm gonna go, I'll just back up and show you here. Yeah, it's here. I don't even know how far I have to back up to get this whole thing in frame. Extremely far, it seems. Yeah, there we go. So, for this session, so we're going to do the skull here, and there's a glass here and some books here. 3 huge pieces of cheese. And this is a turkey, a roasted turkey. There's a giant pie here that's kind of open and it's got all things falling out of it. And it's going to be drapery down here, all the way across the table, all the way over there. This is a lobster, just grapes and fruit everywhere. And then same thing on this side. It's going to be more of the same fruit baskets and just all kinds of food and yeah, just giant table of opulence. This is still just that yellow ochre deep. I've mixed it with a little bit of black. Of course, that desaturates it when you mix something with white or black or gray. It doesn't have the chroma, but I'm not too worried about that because it is already very desaturated, yellow ochre. Number one, and number two, it's a skull, so not a problem at all. Skulls are, bone is very desaturated as it is. You don't really want a high chroma bone. I also want to keep it a little bit darker. Artistic license. Yeah, I guess so. Am I live every day? I try to be. Yeah, I try to paint every day, and so it all depends on what's going on. Just with, like sometimes I don't go live when I'm drawing my my painting out. I just feel like that's not something that people would really be interested in seeing. And then, yeah, it all kind of depends. I have a YouTube channel, so when I have a video that I'm editing, those are days that I tend not to go live, but I try to go live every day. It usually works out to about maybe 4 times a week, but it's hard to plan these things. Basically just a monotone painting. It's just yellow ochre plus white and black. Paul Mora, hey, how you doing? So you can see how that yellow really desaturates with, without much effort at all. So that's kind of the nature of yellow ochre. It's highly desaturated already, and it doesn't take much to even desaturate it further. It just slides into gray. So, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Humans are extremely desaturated, and bones are too. But yeah, skin is just ridiculously desaturated. All complexions I'm talking about. Well, thanks. Yeah, I don't know if you were here for the last 2 days or not, but this is a big one. So that's the center of it. I'm sure we did the globe yesterday, and yeah, that's that. So yeah, there's definitely a lot going on there. How do I solve the transparency problem? Isn't yellow ochre semi-transparent? Yeah, well, I'm mixing it with Mars Black and Titanium White, and both of those are opaque, so that's fine. And then the other thing too is that I'm painting on black gesso, so if some of it comes through, that's not really a problem. It's just gonna be dulled slightly. Yeah, I guess it's one of the features of working with gesso, black gesso. The globe is amazing. Oh, thanks. It kind of came together pretty quick. Actually, just the same colors as these. Yellow ochre, black and white. Keeping things pretty minimal. Because there's basically no rest space on this painting whatsoever. Typically, you would just leave huge areas open. But all of the areas are pretty much crowded with things, and that's part of the content, right? So I'm talking about opulence here. But how I'm creating a lot of these rest areas is through saturation difference. So a lot of these, you see the skulls and that skull and the globe, they're all just very, very desaturated monochrome yellow ochres. And so that way when I do the grapes, they're gonna really pop. So these desaturated areas are kind of the rest areas, if you will. One way to keep things fairly loose in these opening stages is to use a brush that's too large. So this is a 10 flat. Yeah, try black gesso. Definitely go with that. Jace Craft, hello. I actually don't know anyone else who paints with black gesso, and I don't know why. It's fabulous. It makes so much more sense to me. Like if you're painting in the traditional method, which I don't, but if you are, then you tone your canvas with a mid-tone, like usually a burnt sienna or something like that. But you get all excited to paint, and then you have to tone your canvas, and then you just sit there and let it dry. Unless you're doing alla prima, I guess, but it's kind of a pain. So it's nice to have this to do black gesso, because then what happens is, as you can see, it doesn't actually dry black. It dries dark gray, which is close enough to a mid-tone, I guess. So you can just skip that whole toning stage and just get right to painting, which is nice. use the leftover scraps of paint to mix an old bluish gray tone. Yeah, that works. Yeah, wasting paint is not a good thing. It's, just waste in general is not good, but then when you consider that some of these paints have metals in them, and those metals have to be pulled out of the ground, and that does not come at zero environmental cost. So, I think if you are going to be using paints with cadmiums or cobalts, it comes with a moral responsibility to use those judiciously, I would say. Can't do much more with this larger brush here. I'm just going to blend them in a little bit more and before I switch over. When do I or did I enjoy painting the most? I just really enjoy what I do. I can't wait to get up and paint. I love painting every day. It feels weird if I don't paint every day. And if I that's what I want. That's all I want to do. Well, not all I want to do. I want to hang out with my family. But other than hanging out with my family, that's all I want to do. I don't watch TV. I don't even have a TV. Got rid of it. Do I ever use fan blenders? No, I don't. I don't like using a lot of different brushes. I think it's a throwback to when I didn't have a very much of a budget whatsoever on art supplies. I would just get a few brushes, like either like a number 4 angled, something like that, number 6 flat, and then I would just paint entire paintings with a single brush. And I don't know, I just kind of liked it. I got into a groove that way. So I just, I obviously use more than one brush these days, but yeah, I don't tend to experiment a lot with brushes. My brush game is pretty weak. I don't have a really great knowledge about different kinds of brushes. Actually, I just put a YouTube video out about brushes. So, like, I shouldn't say pretty weak. I should say it isn't where it should be. But yeah, I just put a YouTube video out on brushes. And I talked about what different shapes brushes there are and when to use them, that kind of thing. Synthetic versus natural, different bristle types. And that's my YouTube channel if you're interested. What am I painting on? This is canvas. Yeah, I've gessoed it with black gesso, which is my standard. Yeah, it's amazing. Black gesso, good for oil and acrylic. This is a Canadian brand, but I'm sure you can get black gesso wherever you are from. Here. These trusty art supplies are available in most locations, and they ship too. So, but yeah, black gesso is great. I don't feel that urgency to cover up all the white. I used to feel that urgency all the time. Like, oh, I gotta get all the white covered. They're always telling you that in art school, right? Paint the whole canvas. Cover the white. Painting hasn't really started until you've covered all the white. And it's like, well, I don't want to cover the white because then I'm going to lose my drawing. But then that's what they want you to do. They want you to lose your drawing, because then you are going to be painting more loosely. That's kind of, I think, most of what art school is about. It's getting you to loosen up. And it works for the most part. I think most people come out of art school and they know about their medium a little better, and they're actually painting. They're not just drawing with color. And then others, like me, just revert back to all bad habits. But I don't care too much. How much of the black did I need for this? Does it go a long way? Well, it's gesso, so it doesn't go that long away. But maybe I used, like, this thing is about $10, and I probably used that much of it. This is a 30-inch by 40-inch canvas. So, but yeah, it's decent. Hey, thanks so much for the likes. I see them kind of floating up, hands and waving and different things keep floating up. Thank you so much. Appreciate all the follows and likes and comments and all of those cool things that you can do. I think I'm going to switch over to a smaller brush now. I'm just trying to think about anything else that I might want to do while I'm here, while I have this larger brush. Yeah, that's going to be too bright. Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, so those of you just joining, I'm working on a huge painting. I'll just back up here. It's a table. There's gonna be drapery here. I haven't put it in yet, but yeah, it's just got everything. So I did that skull last night, and this pot. I can zoom in, get it closer. Show you guys how it's going. This is oil painting. Oh, it's still pretty wet. Skull there, you can see North America, South America on the globe. That was fun to paint. And this kind of copper pot, teapot thing. It kind of came in decent. So yeah, I think I just gonna work on this whole side right now. So what we have is, you can see obviously a skull I'm working on here. And then this is a glass that's on its side. And then there's the stem of the glass. There's a book behind it. which will be really cool to paint because this is a glass, and then you'll see the difference in the glass texture. And underneath that, we have this like side of ham. It's going to be pretty gross, like just fat and meat. 3 huge blocks of cheese, 1, 2, and 3 back there. And this is hey Mermaid, thank you so much for sending those 4 pumpkins and the rose. Amazing. It's very very kind of you. And then okay, so we have a huge roasted turkey here, and then just grapes and peaches behind. There's a big fruit basket there. This is a pie here, and you can see the pie, and then there's going to be a lobster here. There are actually 3 lobsters in this painting, and then just some kind of random fruit down there. There's all drapery down there. I haven't drawn it in yet, but it's kind of, that's the idea of what it's going to be. And then just all the way across, it's going to be this massive table full of, like, you name it. There's, well, just 2 skulls, but there's books and musical instruments and fruit and just everything. It's going to be a kind of a picture of opulence, I guess. So back to it. I'm going to go let's start working with the top of the head now, top of the skull. This part is receding, and if you've ever been on one of my live streams before, you'll know that I always talk about the 2 ways you can get something to recede when you're painting and you're trying to give the illusion of 3 dimensions. The 2 ways are, number 1, make it darker, and number 2, make it less saturated. So in other words, decrease the chroma. Those are the 2 ways. And then the opposite's true as well. Brighter things come forward, and more saturated or vibrant things come forward as well. So you can manipulate your objects that way. Hope to see the finished work. Yeah, well, I have a solo show in Montreal, Canada. I have a gallery there that represents me. That's on December 3rd is the opening, and then it runs all the way through to, I don't know, like the end of January, something like that. So this painting, I don't know if it's going to make it in time. Like I have to ship the show, I'm going to say 3rd week of November. So that's pretty tight to think that I can finish a painting this big in just about 3 weeks. Because most, like a small painting usually takes me 3 weeks. But we'll see how far I get. I don't have to put it into this show. I just found out I'm going to have another Christmas show with a new art gallery this time. I've been asked to include some more of my photography work, so that'll be really cool. It's actually not quite photography, it's more like digital manipulation, like Photoshop stuff. But I like doing it. I love painting though. I mean, painting's my favorite thing to do, but I definitely like doing that too. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that New York show that I'm just found out I'm gonna have. It's I just showed with them the same gallery in September. It's the Affordable Art Fair in New York. It's called Treat Gallery, and so yeah, it'll be really cool. They're gonna have an online show because Volta, the art fair that they usually go to during Miami Week, that's closed for the pandemic. So I think they're gonna do something online. And anyway, gonna do 2 to 5 pieces she wants. So that'll be cool. Just putting in some more highlights here. I'll blend them in a moment. How long will this painting take? I don't know. I have no idea. The last time I tried something this big, it took me 2 months. The largest painting I've ever painted, took me 4 months. That was huge. That was like 6 feet wide and 4 feet tall. Just trying to take some of the sharp edges off of this because it's bone, and the transitions between light and dark have to be slow and soft. If you have sharper transitions, what happens is it starts looking like metal or shiny leather or things like that. So I don't necessarily want it to look shiny. Sometimes you do. Like sometimes you want a little glare on it, but you have to be careful. What's the most detailed painting that I've ever painted? Yeah, probably that one that took me 4 months. It's called The Banquet. You can check it out online if you want. You just go to my website. Yeah, it's definitely detailed. I had again, that was a big table full of stuff, and on that one I had like ants, and those ants had legs, and those ant legs had shadows. Like it was intense. It's really intense. I was painting over this flower. I just decided it would be easier than trying to paint all around it. I'll paint it back in after this skull is dry. What website? Oh, yeah, markliamsmith.com. That's my username there. Yeah, if you're interested in, while you're there at that website, you could check out my prints if you like. I have just opened a store, I think 5 days ago, something like that, maybe 6 days ago. And I have prints there, 32, I'm not sure, I'm gonna have to count them, 32 or 34 different prints are available of all of my paintings. So if you're interested, yeah, I'd like to direct you toward those. think I've kind of done all I can do with this brush now. I'm going to transition to the more detailed brush. I feel like I just said that half an hour ago. That's okay. Oh, thanks so much. It's that guy Head. How did I learn about underpainting and layering tone? YouTube. Yeah. I found out about something on YouTube called the 7-layer method. It's what the old Flemish masters would do. So I found about it the first time there. I'll just back up while I'm just gonna take a drink. I gotta back up quite a ways here, you see. So I don't know what I'm going to do next. Maybe I might actually just do the turkey. I'm kind of thinking about doing that. I haven't painted one before, and it's got a lot of nice oranges and stuff. So yeah, we'll see. Let's give that a shot. The metal's crazy. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I just did this. I did that one on day 1. And then we just did this one. Kind of reflections and stuff. That's going to be a plate of oysters. So I'm going to have to paint them in afterwards. What part of the painting do I do first? Oh, I just whatever interests me, whatever excites me. I don't really paint the way you're supposed to paint. Like, you're supposed to work the whole canvas at once and put down the toning layer, and then do a grisaille, like a tonal dead layer, and then glaze your transparent colors on top of that and work everything all at once. And, I don't do that. I don't paint in the academic style. I just paint the whatever I'm most interested in. Like, sometimes I really feel like painting grapes because they're really cool to paint, and you can get a lot of different greens, and it's just they're all round, and how they look when they're done is really satisfying. So but sometimes I don't feel like painting it, so I just paint what I feel like. It all has to get done, and I try not to leave the parts I don't really feel like to the very end, so because then what happens is I rush them. So it's kind of like eating a meal. You know, you're gonna have some favorite things on your plate, and you're gonna have some other things that you don't necessarily want, but they're kind of necessary to complete the meal. Okay, so let's jump back up to this skull. I'm gonna start putting in some details before I get too distracted with something else. So again, this is just yellow ochre, white, and black. So extremely simple palette. Will you get to see more as I progress? Well, everything you see right now, I've painted live. I'm painting this whole painting live. So this was 2 days ago on the live. This one was yesterday afternoon on a live. And this was yesterday evening on a live. And now it's this evening. So yeah, like literally everything I've painted on this painting has been live. When will I get on live again? I try to get on every day, but it depends on whether I'm editing YouTube videos or not. So on those days I don't do lives. Because YouTube's kind of my I'm really trying to focus on my followers on YouTube. Like, TikTok is okay for followers. I don't need, but I think I'm trying to get my YouTube up and running. I think I just have, I don't know, 1,000, something like that, 1,000 subs. So yeah, try to come tomorrow. I'm here like, I don't know, I'll say definitely like 4 times a week. I think that's probably reasonable to say that, 4 times a week. And it's usually 8 o'clock, like 8 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. So I'm in Ontario in Canada, which if you're in the States, that's directly north of New York State. And Michigan on the other side. Do I have a reference image for coloring and shadow? Is it intuitive in the baseline drawing? Yeah, so I start with a reference image when I compose the whole thing, like this, and then I use the grid to draw it out, and then after that it's just I freestyle the color and the lighting. But like I've drawn a lot of skulls. I have. It's yeah, it's fine. I'm pretty comfortable with skulls. And then just general lighting, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that too. Just how, where the cast shadow would go, where the core shadow would go, where the reflected light, and so on. What am I using for the painting? This is just canvas, just a regular canvas. I have gessoed it with black gesso. This structure is a supraorbital torus. Goes above your eyes. It's one of the most important ones to get right. It's got a lot of little bumps in it. And then, yeah, this is the other one that you really want to focus on, right here. This here, it's called the zygomatic arch. I have some skull tutorials, by the way, some how to draw tutorials. I have the skull from 3/4 and from the side and from front. So those are there, and I go over some of the anatomical terms. Kind of helps you remember where things are, and so you know where to put stuff too. Like these cranial nerves. I've always enjoyed watching and looking at art, but rarely heard anyone explain and teach techniques. Yeah. Well, if you have any questions, just feel free to drop them in the comments. I have no problem talking about different techniques or anything like that. In fact, I'm happy to. I think there's a lot of, I don't know, kind of mystery around art. Maybe there shouldn't be. This is just a little shadow here. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm just going to put in some highlights now. Just to kind of... it's really easy to overdo this section, this part while you're putting in these bright highlights. So you have to... well, I have to always remind myself. Kind of control myself. So as you see with the pot, the light is not quite straight on. It's kind of coming to this, and same thing with these ones. So I want to try to create a consistent light source, and then also with the globe, you see it's just a little off center, coming down from the left there. So that's, I'm trying to light all of these things myself, so it's really important to be consistent in that regard when it comes to the lighting. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. Just some little indications here of the lighting. And then, of course, the main highlight has to be the brightest. And for this one, we're going straight to titanium white. I'm going to actually put some teeth in here. So again, this is a really simple palette. Like it almost couldn't be simpler. It's just one color. It's yellow ochre deep, which is a very earthy kind of yellow. You can kind of think about it like it's almost like a brown rather than a yellow. So yellow ochre deep plus black and white. And that's it. That's all I have right now. But just by varying how much black or how much white I put in with that yellow ochre, I can create all these different effects. So shades of orange and red and green. Yeah, well, all of those I guess are kind of there in black. Black is 50% cyan, which is a blue-green, and 30% magenta, which is a purpley red, and then 20% yellow. So all of those make black. That makes sense that there will be some indications. But yeah, it's just yellow ochre and black and white. Just kind of adding highlights and then blending them in. I don't know how entertaining this part is, so apologies. Yeah, just 3 colors. I'll show you my palette. Learner 80, huge fan of you, sir. Thank you very much. Amazing that you're in Nepal. I'm in Canada. Yeah, just 3 colors. So I'll show you. So we have that's my palette. That's what we're using. Black, yellow, ochre, deep, and white. And then that black and blue was for this one here. So I did this one yesterday. And then the globe, that's the same thing. That's just 3 colors. Yellow ochre plus black and white. And then same thing here. Yellow ochre plus black and white. So like you can really get a lot out of that. Just those 3 colors. Oh, Tasmania, nice. That's really cool. I have so I have 3 galleries that represent me that sell my paintings, and one of them is in Australia. It's near Brisbane, and it's in the Gold Coast in Mermaid Beach. It's called 19 Karen. So I don't know if you get to the mainland very often or not, but if you find yourself in the Gold Coast, yeah, I have some work up there right now. And I mean, that gallery represents me, so I'll always have work there if you want to see any of my stuff in person. Just kind of making these tooth holes here. How long will it take me to do this piece? I don't know. I did a piece slightly larger than this. Like this is 40 inches by 30 inches. I did a 60 inch by 40 inch one. So basically twice as large as this, I suppose. And that one took 4 months. So this one will probably take 2 months. But the thing is, I have a solo show at the beginning of December in Montreal. So if I can kind of rush, and I might be able to put it into that show. I already have 18 paintings finished for that show. So like I don't need to put this one in, but it would be cool if I could put this one and get this one in too. You were surprised to see broad strokes in the bone? Yeah, it's so I'm not a hyperrealist, I'm just a realist. So what that means is it's supposed to look real from a certain distance, like that. You're about 2 feet away right now. But then when it gets close, you see the brush strokes. So, and same thing here. Like, it looks like a painting when you're close. It doesn't look real. But then when you get 2 feet away, it starts to look real. Same thing with the globe here. And that. Yeah, thanks. I like, I think I like realism more than photorealism because it just gives me an opportunity for a little bit more creative expression. So I have tried photorealism before. I just, because I'm colorblind, it just does not really work out well for me. Especially when it comes to a lot more of the desaturated colors. Like skin tones and things like that. It's just, it gets really tough. You're in New Jersey? That's awesome. I love that whole area every time I go through New Jersey. And do I have shows in Philadelphia or New York? Yeah, so I do have a show in New York coming up in mid-December. Treat Gallery, but it's an online show. But like it's a New York gallery, but it's going to be online because Volta, which is usually the first week of December for Miami Art Week, that was canceled this year for the pandemic. So, but yeah, I have I don't know, 2 to 5 pieces I'll be showing with them. I just had a show in New York too, last month. It was the Affordable Art Fair, and that was digital photography. They're still available, by the way. Some of them are. They were 8 of them, and they were editions of 20. And so there's some still available. If you go to my website and you click on photography, you'll see that series. They were paint tubes, but instead of colors, I put like emotions and attributes, like love and fear, things like that. Yeah, they did well. So I have those open editions on my website. I also have some poster prints, and those are pretty cheap. like inexpensive, I mean. They start at $25, but most of them are like $40. Well, no, I mean, there are 32 of them, and I have eight for $25, and the rest are $40, except one that's like 60 or something. Anyway, if you're interested in picking up a print of one of my paintings, check out, there's a link in the bio, but it's markliamsmith.com/shop. And you can, I only sell original paintings through galleries, but I sell prints through my website. Yeah, the close view. Yeah, exactly. Well, if you're in Jersey, I don't know how far it is to Montreal, but I have a solo show in Montreal. December, so opens December 3rd at Gallery Une. So I don't know how far that is from Jersey, but I'll have 18 paintings there that you can check out. Henry, yeah, I'm colorblind. I'm red-green deuteranope, which means that I can still see reds and greens. I just I have a deficiency in the number of red and green cones. So, like, I run into particular problems when the reds and the greens are desaturated. Everything kind of goes to browns and grays. But if it's highly saturated, then it's okay. Like a lime green kind of thing, or yeah, like just bright greens. Anything with high chroma is fine. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave that there. I have there's a large bone here. It looks like it's here. It looks like it might be a femur, upper thigh bone. That's Canada, isn't it? Yeah. So I live in just outside Toronto, the biggest Canadian city, and but my show is in Montreal, which is Canada's second biggest city. It's in the French part of Canada called Quebec. Oh, thanks so much for that compliment, Jewel of the Moon. Yeah, there aren't many flowers in this piece, but pretty much every other piece is a flower piece. Your girlfriend's in Vancouver. Do you have any work there? No, I haven't shown in Vancouver for, I think, 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. 3 years ago, I had a show in Vancouver, and then I also had work at this Seattle Art Fair, which is really close to Vancouver. Seattle is, but yeah, nothing recently. I'm just gonna get the highlights of the bones here. That's gonna be on this side, and then on this side here. Just mark those. this femur is pretty cylindrical, so I'll just have to be consistent with the lighting. Kind of get this darker area in, and then I'll be able to blend it in a few moments. This is completely out of my box? No, I wouldn't say that. I have a good amount of experience painting skulls, and I painted mostly portraits when I first started. So I've only been painting flowers and still lives for maybe 3 years. But I also make instructional videos, so I kind of paint a lot of different subject matter there. Oh, no problem. The thing about my website is that's just the up-to-date stuff. Yeah, it's like when I first started, so I've been painting professionally now for about 6 years. When I first started, my very first series that I was trying to be really serious about was called 48 Legends of Art, and it was a portrait series of 48 different artists. And then when I kind of blinded them, there's this trope, I guess you would call it, of the blind master. And so I had all these legends of art, and they were blinded. I still have a few of them. But that was a pretty wild series. I used something called Nepheline gel, which is really cool. It kind of looks like sand, and it gives an amazing texture. Here, I think I actually might have one right here. I'll show you. Yeah, just a moment. Yeah. So, there's one of them. So you see, I blinded him out. That's Francis Bacon. But you can see the gel. It's a really cool texture. So that was a while ago. I've definitely that's oil paint on top of Nepheline gel. Yeah. I'm gonna try to finish this bone before we move on to I don't know, maybe these are some 3 blocks of cheese. I don't exactly know what color to make that cheese. I'll have to do some research. like oranges, right? I don't know. So I'll just try to round this off here now. Scream Cult, hello. And welcome to this Friday night live stream. We've been going now for, I don't know, an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. I always get into a bit of a time warp when I do these lives. I'll just kind of rough it in here and then do the blending afterwards. Kind of makes the most sense. It's a little bit too transparent there. Oil paint on canvas. Oh, sorry. Thanks, Infinite Pile. I don't always catch what's going on in the chat. Thanks for the save. And I'm just kind of blending this in here with this number 10 flat brush. And since it's just one color at this point still, so I don't have to worry about blending hot colors and cool colors together or anything like that. It's just the one color. Yeah, nice chatting with you too, Jewel of the Moon. Thanks for hanging out. Maybe seeing the one in the future. Yeah, so there's a little shadow here I think I'm going to put in, just from the glass. thanks so much for the follows, everyone, and for the likes. It's very much appreciated. So I'm going to put some more highlights into this bone here. The book throwing, yeah, for sure. So I think what I'm just going to deal with that was the book showing through the glass will be interesting, is if I'm pausing. So I'm going to deal with this is just going to be a tonal shift. So keep the same level of detail. So the book here will be quite bright, the pages, and then it'll be just a value shift to imply that glass. Because you can't actually paint glass, but you can kind of imply it. Let me go with some highlights here into this bone. Yeah, you're welcome, Janice. Do I do a painting a day? I mean, no, it's not a whole new painting. It's actually the same one. It's just a huge painting. So, yeah. No, I do the opposite of a painting a day. I do, this one will take me, I don't know, a month and a half or something. So that was the day before yesterday. And then this was yesterday afternoon. And then this was last night during the live. And then this is tonight. Like, I'm not a slow painter, but the subjects are pretty, I think there's a lot of detail, pretty detailed. Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate that. You don't trust yourself to paint? What's not to trust? Like you'll make a big mess or something? I'm just gonna back up for a moment and then have a sip. Show you the. I guess I gotta back up quite a ways. Yeah, okay. So we'll just talk about where we're at. These all of the subjects here. I've just used it's just the same color. It's yellow ochre and black and white. So I have obviously in the middle of the painting, it's kind of copper pot here. The two skulls are that there are no more skulls other than that. This femur, we have a glass right here with a book, and then this is kind of a large ham here. And there's a turkey here, some grapes, a big fruit bowl, and there's a pie. Yeah, lots and lots of stuff. Okay, so we'll jump back into it. It's 11. I probably have, I don't know, a little bit little bit longer. Will it be purple or green grapes? Both. Yeah. The green ones I like painting because they're translucent, and then the purple and red ones I like because they just I like the colors of those ones. But basically half and half. So these grapes all here will be green, and teal and turquoise, and cyans and blues and stuff. And then these ones here will be purples. There's a lobster down here at the bottom. That'll be pretty cool to paint. I really like painting lobsters. But this is, you got 3 big blocks of cheese here, and then this is a turkey. Okay. So, oh, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you so much for joining. The inspiration, well, I've been painting the same style, these kind of Flemish still life paintings now. This will be my second solo show, so I think I have about 50 paintings in this style. So what I do is I reconfigure Flemish painting from the 17th century, like 1630 up to about 1720. And I reconfigure them by cutting out almost like a jigsaw puzzle. All these different pieces, I cut them up and then I reconfigure them. And so I talk, the overall theme is manipulating narratives in history. So yeah, it's kind of endless. Most of my paintings, this one's obviously an exception because you don't see any flowers right now, but most of my paintings are floral paintings. Any tips for a new painter? Yeah, for sure. So, biggest tip, I'm just gonna move the canvas up for a moment. My biggest tip for a new painter is promise yourself you won't show your paintings to the first 10 paintings. Don't show them. Don't show them to anyone. Not your partner, not your parent, not your teacher, nothing. And then what that does is it takes the pressure off of you. The pressure to make your painting look like something. It takes the pressure off and allows you to really explore the medium. Like, how much paint do you put on your brush to create different techniques? What happens when you paint wet into wet? How do you blend effectively? Once a color is dry and you put opaque paint on unevenly, that's called scumbling. When you put transparent paint on evenly, that's called glazing. All different techniques that you need to practice, you need to try as a new painter. I should obviously give myself a plug, or a shout out here. I have a YouTube channel that I will direct you to. It is specifically designed for beginners in oil painting, and it's kind of like from the couch to the easel. So I go over brushes, brush shapes, I go over canvas versus panel versus paper. I talk about scumbling. My glazing video is coming out maybe tomorrow. It's already edited. Yeah. My YouTube channel, it's the link is in the bio. Yeah. So it's Mark Liam Smith on YouTube. All of my social media, like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, everything's just Mark Liam Smith. Gonna go for this turkey because I love cadmium orange, and it's just such a stunning color. It's so unnatural, isn't it? Cadmium orange. Yeah, I'm gonna paint an orange turkey. I think that sounds kind of cool. Oh no, do I have any cadmium orange? Yes. Yes, I do. There we go. A little gambling cadmium orange. That will be really cool. Gonna need something for a highlight for that. I'm gonna go with cad yellow medium. What happened to the globe? I finished it. Yeah, finished that yesterday afternoon. So this is just the one side of the painting that we're working on today. The globe is over here. And then that's the middle, and then we did this one last night. Yeah, so let's do a turkey. What do we need? So here's the plan. The light source is going to be coming down here, same as this. So it's not quite in the center. It's off a little bit and then down. So same thing with the skull here. You see the highlight on the skull on that, and then same thing with the globe. So, and then these guys too. So it's just a little bit off on the left. So I want to be consistent with the light source. So we'll go kind of this area here. This is the wing here, and then so I need that to be forward and the body of the turkey right behind it to be darker, and that's going to push that back. Same thing here. So here's a leg, and what I need to do is this part here needs to be a lot lighter than this part here. This is darker, so it'll read as behind. And then same thing here. This needs to be lighter, and this is darker. And then these are all of these are green grapes. So the legs I'm going to make pretty dark, and they will be silhouetted basically in this kind of field of green. That'll be pretty cool, I think. Then having the orange and then the green there. And then this is a lobster here. And this is going to be bright red. So I don't want to get into too many reds here. I'm going to go, like oranges and some browns. A little bit of red I think will be appropriate, but yeah, mostly kind of oranges and ochres. So let's go for it. Cad orange down first. That's down. I'm going to go with cad yellow. Not too much of that. I want to be pretty sparing with that. Okay, so there's no rule about whether you put the highlights in first or the lowlights or anything like that. I tend to just put in just areas that excite me. So right now I'm kind of feeling the idea of putting in the highlights first, maybe here on the wings, across the wings, and then this kind of front area, and then here on the drumstick. I'll put those in first, and then I'll go to the dark and then finish up in the middle somewhere. Meet myself in the middle. Okay, just going to use the same number 10 flat brush that I've been using for the skulls. And it's not super imperative that I clean it off because it is yellow ochre and that's basically orange anyway. So that's fine. Let's look at that amazing cadmium orange. Definitely one of my favorite colors. So I'm just gonna make a few indications of this cadmium orange here. Before I get into those highlights. Just kind of across. I'm gonna go with, jump straight to the highlights now. I'm not gonna go with pure titanium white. I'm gonna keep that orange from my brush that I just had there. I'm not worrying whatsoever about details at this point. I just want to create the form. Okay. I know it doesn't look like anything yet, but what I'm basically doing is, it's, in drawing when you put guidelines down, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm just saying, hey, this area is going to be orange, this area is going to be kind of orange and white. So that's what's going on right now. It's like guidelines. So now I have orange and a little bit of yellow ochre mixed in here. So let's see what's going on. It's gonna be darker orange down here, I think. Except around this pie. So I'm going to go with some browns and some reds. So let's pull that out right now. I'm going to go, let me see. Raw sienna would be nice because that's basically a red and a brown together. So let me go with that. I don't want to use too much raw sienna. It really does tend to kill the chroma. But I also need something. I'm going to put just the smallest amount of black on the palette here. I really don't want to use a lot of black. Black will absolutely kill the chroma, so okay. But I do need something darker. Let me get a red. Let me see what's going on. In terms of red, let me see. Got some colors in crimson. Yeah, I'll go with Scarlet Lake, which is this. It's kind of a cadmium red substitute. I don't necessarily need cad red right now. So I'll just kind of cheat with that one. Okay, let's get the basic areas down. I'm gonna go red mixed with ochre. Let's see if I can get some darker areas on this wing here. I'm just going to pull it all the way down. Can make changes later. I just want to kind of map it out for now. That's going to be dark. And on the underside here as well. That's going to be dark. Yeah, that's a good thing about oil paint is things will stay wet long enough for you to manipulate them and kind of play with what you have, so you can put in these sorts of placeholders like I'm doing now. Yeah, this is what you call the ugly stage, but it's fine. You just have to, what do they say? Trust the process. Yeah, I just keep painting with the knowledge that you can always wipe it off if it doesn't work out and start again. I'm gonna have to resist putting in some more details here. Just getting some black and some red. So what I'm trying to do is keep the saturated colors up top and then using desaturated colors as I roll across the back of the turkey. Hopefully that will create a sense of depth. So that's what I'm going for here. That's why they're darker. They're not going to be this dark at the end. It's just almost like making indications where I want it to kind of roll over the back. Lots of details that I'm going to have to put in here. So I'm going to have to do some more research on this stuff. This is my first turkey I've ever painted. So I can paint a skull out of my head, but I'm going to have to definitely figure out, like I can visualize the basic shape. That's not a problem. But there's a lot more to paint than the basic shape. Because the wing is going to be dark, I needed to go light behind that to create that difference. Everything in painting is created by contrast. And so if you want to show a boundary and it's dark, you have to go light, even if the thing is supposed to be behind, which it is. But I had no choice because the wing is dark. I'm looking forward to painting this lobster. I just finished painting a blue lobster for a different painting that I really enjoyed painting. Yeah, first turkey that I painted here. I don't even know if turkeys are supposed to be orange. It's one of the... I guess this is a perk of being colorblind. I don't need to stress over it because I can't access the truth. Well, the truth is as you all see it. So, just not even gonna worry about it. Let's go. Keep going with ochres, yellow ochres, and cadmium orange. Can worry about details. Not yet. In a little bit. It does have a lot of orange in it? Okay, awesome. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter because I'm kind of known for doing whatever colors. How much color can I see? I think I can see a lot of color, but I know, like, I've done those tests where you have to pick out the number, and then if you're colorblind, you say a certain number, and then if you're not colorblind, you say a different number. I've done all. It's called the Ishikawa color blindness test. I've done all those. So I'm moderately colorblind. So there are certainly colors that I can't distinguish. It's mostly the nuance that catches me out. Looks like a lighting scheme match. Yeah, I'm actually a little... I was kind of stressing about that a bit because I think I'm lighting it a little too far that way. I might want to pull it back this way. So I'm going to put some highlights over here, and that'll probably be good. I'm not going to do it yet though. I'm going to stop right there. Oh yeah, trying to race toward the highlights. So I really don't want to be blending too much when it comes to the highlights, because the skin is supposed to be glistening. So you want to be doing harsh, not harsh, but hard transitions, if that makes sense. You don't want to be doing a lot of blending. You see Goya in the body highlights. Huh, that's cool. Yeah, I really like Goya. Have you ever tried the glasses to compensate for color blindness? No, I have never tried them. I have a slightly odd opinion about those glasses. I've actually had them offered to me. Somebody offered to buy them for me. I declined. And the reason was, so I see colors the way I see them right now, and I don't know any better. I don't know what I'm missing. I guess you could look at it that way. But the way I see colors is directly related to how I paint them. And I kind of like the paintings I make right now. I like what colors they are. Like I don't, even if the colors that I think that they are not what you think they are, I still like producing them in these colors that I see. As soon as I put those glasses on, I'm going to see them, all my paintings, for what they really are, like what everyone else sees, and it's definitely going to affect my painting. I don't think I want that. I don't think I'm ready for that, and yeah, I think there's potential for harm than foul, much more for harm. Mad's Queens of Mad. You're amazing, you're strong, you're beautiful, perfectly imperfect, spread good energy, be kind. Hey, thanks for that message. I think that's excellent. Excellent vibe you have going on there. The lighter meat underneath shines through the translucent orange crisp skin. Ah, I see. Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm going with. Blocks of color and seeing brush strokes, always nice. Yeah, I like that. When you see my paintings up close, you're like in a gallery setting, it's always shocking to people how many brush strokes you can actually see, because they look somewhat realistic from a distance. But yeah, I do like showing the hand of the artist, I guess you'd say, the hand of the artist. I like showing that. And I like seeing it in other people's work too. Do I like pure color theory? Yeah, I do. Because of being colorblind, I had to really dig into color theory. I do like it. It certainly has helped me with my painting. Just, I think when it comes to color theory, even just the simplest aspects, like what warm and cool colors are. For example, just even that, knowing what happens when you mix warm and cool colors, or warm and warm colors, creating an analogous palette. Yeah. I really was blown away when I first saw the Munsell color system, with that 3 dimensions of colors, instead of just a 2-dimensional color wheel, and they had that 3rd dimension for chroma. That just made so much sense to me. Is oil painting difficult for beginners? I don't think so. I think it's the best one to start with. It's much more forgiving than watercolor. You don't have to use turpentine anymore and get it all toxic, but it gives you the most time. In acrylic, you have to rush everything, and when you're starting out, you don't want to rush. You want to think about your things, all your steps. You want to take your time. But with acrylic, it's really tough to do that. Yeah, the solid blocks of color. I think the best kind of result is when you do these solid, here, I'll just give you a close-up. You do these chunks of color like this, and then you put the details right on top of it. So there's some blending, but it's kind of minimal. But as soon as you put the details on top, then it really comes together. Oh, Munsell. It's M-U-N, and then sell, like to buy and sell, S-E-L-L. Munsell color system. It's amazing. So basically, it's that color wheel, the traditional color wheel that you know. It's a circle with red and orange, yellow, green, blue, and all the way around. So what it is, it's that, and then imagine 3 dimensions. So the color wheel's like this, but then there's this right in the center, and it comes out, and that is your white to black. It's called value. Most people call it tone, but it's actually called value. So there's this rod right down the middle of this wheel, and it goes white to black, and then all the way around the wheel is all the colors, red and yellow and so on. And then getting from the outside wheel into the middle, it's chroma. This is that 3rd dimension aspect. So it's most saturated, and then less saturated, less, and then finally you're at gray. And then the theory comes into play when you're talking about how all of that relates to each other. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Am I gonna make some dressing to go with the turkey? Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing is dressing. I don't know if there's gonna be any like stuffing coming out the back or not, but yeah, it's pretty intense. I'll have to have something, won't I? I'm just trying to drop in some highlights here. And keeping it fairly loose. I think is the key. So, because these highlights, I can go right to white for these highlights because it's supposed to be glistening oil, I guess. So I'm gonna go right to white, it's titanium white. And just in some areas that need to be broken up. Where's Christmas? Maybe the pie. Maybe a Christmas pie. Yeah, I think it's pretty fun painting this turkey. This is my first attempt at painting a turkey, so I like it. I think I'd like to do something like this again. Yeah, a meat phase. That's really funny. How is the gloss and matte difference in subject created? Yeah, so good question. I'm sure other people have that same question, so I'll just take a moment with that because I can actually have some things to illustrate here. So when you're dealing with a matte texture like bone, you as opposed to a shiny texture like metal, there's a difference between bone and something shiny like porcelain and metal or leather. So this is wood. And what you find is in the tonal range, so when I talk about tone, I'm talking about white all the way through the grays to black. Okay, that's all called tone, or sorry, value. It's called value. Tone is a particular gray. So if something is one color, let's say it's blue, okay? That blue will go slightly lighter in value when in the areas that are in direct sunlight or wherever the source of light is, and it'll go slightly darker in value in the areas that are shadowed. And the shadow can either be because the light isn't hitting that thing, like it's a curved surface, or it could be that something is casting a shadow on it. So it can be a cast shadow or a core shadow, basically. So you have a blue and then it goes lighter or darker, right? So that makes sense. Now, when it comes to texture, how light and how dark, that gives it the appearance of being either matte or shiny. On shiny things, a single color will go all the way to white and all the way to black, and it's a single color. But with matte things, the range is a lot narrower. So that's the explanation there. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, there's a really cool exercise. I think I'm probably going to do a YouTube. It's too long for TikTok, but I'll basically show like wood versus metal versus leather versus fur, and yeah, how you handle highlights and lowlights are very different for all of those different things. So it's a really good exercise just to practice trying to paint different textures. Like that's most of the trick of painting, is something is just one color, and then how many different colors do you need to use in order to show one color? That's kind of it in a nutshell. So I'm just breaking up these spaces a little bit and putting some details in. It's going to make it look like it's shinier. I'm going to go same thing on the other side now. Metal reflections, yeah. Well, like different metals have different ranges. So like copper wouldn't be as shiny as chrome is the big one. Chrome is the only one I think that has the full range. But yeah, you can really play with that as well. Different kinds of metal. Definitely some painting exercises in there somewhere. If I were a painting teacher, I would do that. I would have my students paint different textures of things. Because that's the kind of knowledge that you can always use in your whole painting career. Doesn't matter if you're painting trees or people. I'm just breaking up some of these shapes here. And implying this kind of skin texture. Did I make this in an hour? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I've been painting since, I don't know, maybe 9:30, 9 o'clock. So we did this tonight. And then that was 2 days ago. And this one was yesterday and last night. Art keeps people young because time stops while you're creating. Yeah, for sure. That is so true. You get into that kind of flow state situation. And then suddenly it's midnight and you realize that it doesn't matter when you go to bed, you have to get up at 6. Even on Saturdays. I'm just gonna create this sort of just little marks here and there for the skin tone. Am I happy with the skin tones? I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's orange and yellow ochre, burnt sienna, or sorry, burnt sienna. Yeah, there's not a lot in here that's controversial. Like I'm not putting any greens or blues or anything in here, so. Looked at the other prints and paintings. They're awesome. Oh, thanks so much. Will they have good weather this weekend? No, it's calling for rain. And I'm actually going into Toronto tomorrow to visit a friend, so yeah, I don't have any luck there. I live about half an hour outside of Toronto. But every now and then I do go in to the city. I lived in, right downtown for 5 years, and it was pretty intense. Try to create a bit of a shadow here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there, actually. It's already turkey tonight. Okay, I'm gonna back right up and give you another view. See how we did. So, it looks like a bunch of random objects right now, but once we get the tablecloth down, Whoops, down here. I'm gonna put a big tablecloth across the bottom. And there's gonna be a bunch of plates full of food and stuff here. So we got the turkey. There's gonna be a pie here. 3 big blocks of cheese. There's like a ham here, and then just grapes. And there's a big fruit basket here. Some lobsters. I think there's 1, 2, 3 lobsters. This is a glass. There's a book here. There's another book here, and then some more books here. Yeah. So lots and lots to do. But yeah, coming along nicely. So thank you all so much again for joining me on this Friday night live stream. I do appreciate all of your comments, all of your likes, and those of you that have shared the video, thank you for that. And once again, if you are interested in any prints, they're all available in my store. I have 32 or 34. I'm going to have to count and figure it out at some point. $25 is where they start. Most of them are 40 or 25. So, I picked one up myself, and just to test the quality, and yeah, they're good. So, have a great evening if you are in my part of the world, and enjoy your Saturday morning if you're in the other part of the world. Bye bye, everyone.